Hi there, it's Ian here, and you're watching Grumpy Opinions, the show where I'm going to tell you all about what I think of films, TV shows, games, and life in general. Let's get on with the show. Star Trek Discovery is a show made by CBS, based on the old Star Trek TV shows and films, but made with modern sensibilities and effects and concepts. Episode 6, The Sounds of Thunder, starts up with Saru talking about his feelings about his people, now that he's out in the medical bay and back to having work now, after last time when his dangles fell off. Now it turns out that he's back to work for good. So's Hugh, despite him being like a clone of a dead guy made of mushrooms or something. Really, he's apparently not only definitely him, but he's definitely him, but new and freshly made and apparently ready to go back to work. Which I suppose means Starfleet's kind of harsher than the DWP. But anyway, Saru's basically fine, except now he hasn't got any fear left. And that's good because the Red Angel's been busy and Section 31 worked out that it's got something to do with time travel as well as space, because reasons. Anyway, it's a good thing, but also because the latest red anomaly appeared right over Saru's home planet, meaning they need to go down onto it and figure out if the people there know anything. But it's a difficult problem because they don't know about the Federation, apart from Saru. And also the planet is ruled by a mysterious and secretive race called the Ba'ul. Now, Saru being emotionally compromised doesn't seem to matter. Even though he's desperate to tell his people that the culture being culled is a lie, and Michael convinces him to keep shtum about it, and Pike agrees to let them go. Okay, so they go down and they hang out beside a giant alien bit of technology for a while, and that's clearly a good idea and won't have any bad consequences. But then they go off to meet Saru's priest sister, and she makes them tea, and she gets kind of cross at him for leaving without saying goodbye. But he's a good Starfleet, so he doesn't actually tell her what he knows. But then the alarms go off and it starts to look like it's going to get a bit crazy, so him and Michael beam back up. And the Ba'ul are on the phone, and it transpires that they know that he's there, and they don't like that there's a post-puberty Kelpian alive, and they're all about to have a big fight with the Discovery. And Saru blows his lid again and gets sent off the bridge, so he goes down to beam down in secret. Michael catches him, but then lets him go because why follow orders, I suppose. Anyway, Saru's immediately captured, and then the Ba'ul ships vanish, and it's oh no. So what now? Well, luckily, the info they got from that big space ball the other week includes this planet. It's basically a giant space database, so the weird robot lady helps them to decrypt it, and it turns out that Kelpians used to be the dominant predator species on the planet, and they used to feed on the Ba'ul, but then the Ba'ul got technology and wiped them out, and they've been culling them ever since, right at the point of puberty. But meanwhile, Saru and his sister have been captured by the Ba'ul, like I said, and they're giant skinny tar people or something, and it's not really very clear, but he's all hell no, and he breaks free, saving his sister, and then he uses the wee torture drones in part of the floor to program the obelisk to send out the magical signal that's going to cause all the Kelpians to digivolve at the same time. And Captain Pike's whatever. So, that starts to happen. And clearly the Ba'ul aren't happy because, they try and overload all the obelisks to wipe out all the Kelpians at once. And obviously, the Discovery folk aren't happy with that because that's genocide. But luckily, the Red Angel appears and saves them by turning off the power. And then Saru gets a good look at the angel. And after that, everything's all fine. The people of Kelpia are going to live on now, and Saru's sister goes away home, and after that, it's back to chasing Spock again. Okay. So what did I think? Well, I think this was a much better episode than last time, although I still felt there was a few unnecessary stops along the way. I feel the focus on Saru and his people, that was really interesting. Saru's an interesting character, and, the fact that he didn't die and we heard about this puberty thing was quite interesting. And, because he's basically evolved into a new part of his species' life cycle. And it was interesting to hear more about, him and his sister and his people, although, it'd be nice to hear it actually in a little bit more complexity than we did, but, there's maybe time for that later on. I really like the idea of the Ba'ul and their technology, and the fact that they were these weird sort of oil slick people, but then at the same time they went around in these kind of geometric shaped ships. In fact, also total props to the makers of Discovery for managing to get Javier, or excuse me, I'm going to butcher his name, Javier Botet, on the show. He's a really tall, skinny actor from Spain. I really like his work that, because he does an awful lot of horror film stuff, because he was in Mama and Wreck, and he was various monsters in the Conjuring and Insidious films and loads of other things. You've almost certainly seen him if you watch any horror. And it was nice to see him in this. And it was also good to see something that felt like the beginning of a classic Star Trek episode, with the whole idea of here's another culture, let's debate the morality of getting in the middle of their ways and causing problems. But it was just that. It was the beginning of that story. And then one that seemed to get fixed in 2 seconds right at the end by contrivance. And yeah, that's it. Again, unfortunately this week, that's all the good. There was some nice FX and stuff, but wow, I had major problems with a lot of the stuff this week. And let's start with like something really basic. As I said, I liked the look of the bowl, and but why was the idea of them having voices so gravelly and weird that you couldn't really actually make out what they were saying?
Christopher Pike of the USS Discovery.
You have taken what belongs to us. Serve the promise that it would not meddle in the internal affairs of our planet.
I mean, seriously, I know people make jokes about the fact of Netflix TV shows and films sometimes needing subtitles, but I think this is the first time I've ever needed it on any Star Trek show. And while we're looking at the technical side of things, I mean, there was so much camera stuff this week. I mean, the camera was like vomit-inducing. It was never ever staying still. It was wobbling about. It was, in one scene, it literally swung back and forward, left to right, all the way through the whole scene. And this was mostly during like the pre-credits. I mean, after that, it seemed to calm down a little bit, or maybe I'd just gotten used to it. But the opening few minutes of the episode was just bleh. But also, I mean, my gripes mainly, though, were with the story and the writing, as usual. And then both in this episode and kind of the series arc in general, I think things have been bugging me. And I've said before, it feels like half the season is peddling water. I mean, they say, oh, we're after Spock, and it's the most important thing ever, and we're going to call in all these special things and give you a new captain, and oh, look, there's Section 31, and they're also involved in this, and it's the most important thing. But then they'll find a reason to go off and do something else for that week. I mean, you can do stuff like that. I mean, Red Dwarf Season 6 is basically just that, Lister and Rimmer and the gang and looking for the Red Dwarf all season, getting into adventures every week while following the trail. But this week it feels like they'd find Spock if they just bothered, but there's always then something gets in the way and it feels unnatural, and it feels like whatever they're doing is a bit silly. They're just taking like sidelines and to make it pad out the series a bit. But here, I mean, it never felt genuine. It feels like they come by the clues that lead them to things by sheer luck, and we've now established that not only is there a time-traveling space angel dude with future tech and stuff, and some kind of connection to the Discovery, which I can't help feel is going to like cause some problems later on. I mean, especially if it's just going to like solve things every time they get in a bad situation. And we're also steering seriously close to like Babylon 5's Babylon 4 storyline. I mean, if you've ever seen that show, then you'll know what I mean. But now they've also not only got this secret, possibly future friend protector person, but they've also got a database of infinite knowledge and a robot person who can like literally plug through it and like immediately with no effort. I mean, is there any tension left in the show? I mean, it's already bad enough that Michael can do just about anything all the time, but now they've got the built-in Deus Ex Machina, and they've got like the giant tome of ultimate knowledge. I mean, honestly, this is like somebody's really, really bad like tabletop Dungeons and Dragons session, but about Star Trek. I mean, more than that, it also annoyed me that the ending of this week's episode was kind of contrived and a bit tragic in that regard. I mean, let's face it, Saru managed to reprogram an entire alien technology field that he didn't really know anything about, that he'd only looked at once. I mean, apparently there was like a short film thing to tie into the short episode thing that showed that he actually used that to contact like the Starfleet in the first place by accident. So he's clever in that, but he's basically using 2 bits of a drone and a bit of the floor to create something that can hack into a supercomputer and make it do something that it's probably not meant to do, and he does all that in literally about 2 minutes. I mean, that's like somebody saying, right, if you just take that old hand drill and your mobile phone and a potato and rub them together the right way, if you've got enough knowledge, you'll be able to make that fire all the nukes in the world at the same time. It doesn't seem likely somehow. But anyway, the other side of it is a bit silly, is that he just made all of his race hit puberty at the same time. Now, I mean, I know it's not really puberty, it's this other thing, but the idea is it changes them from one part of their life cycle to another. So it changes them from being fearful and like running away from things to being actually quite vicious predators. Because they established in season 1 that he's really fast and really strong, and now he's got like these little things he can shoot out of his ears, these little like, sort of sting things that come flying out. But what does that mean for the planet? What does that mean for this idyllic paradise? I mean, does that now mean that the Kelpians are going to be running all over the place, killing everything on the planet because they're now the most dominant species? And what's going to happen to the Baul? I mean, who's to say they aren't going to just take off next week and nuke the entire planet, like carpet bomb the whole place? But I mean, oh wait, sorry, this is Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek Discovery doesn't do repercussions and it doesn't do consequences. So they'll have forgotten about this by next week and it'll all be fine. And I doubt they'll ever bring it up ever again. Anyway. But that's me one video closer to being up to date, so till next time, I've been Ian, and these have been my grumpy opinions.